Press Start Podcast.
And welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. This is episode number 94, and I'm your host, Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin', and I'm joined by Scott, aka Scobie1.
Hey everybody, welcome back.
And we also got Roger, aka Lunatic Oblivion. Welcome back, sir.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
What's happening, man? Man, we got a crazy upcoming next couple of weeks with game events. There's really not that much news to really get to, but let's just get into our games played of the week, even though it's not that long. All right, Warzone 2. All right, on to the next thing, right? No, I'm just playing. Roger, you kicked it off this week playing some Street Fighter 6. How's that experience been going for you?
Honestly, Street Fighter 6 has been a load of fun. With the modern control set, it really kind of takes a divergent turn from the classical Street Fighter where you got 6 buttons: light kick, heavy kick, medium kick, light, heavy, and medium punch, up, down, left, right. You got all these different combinations you're supposed to remember. For somebody who wants to get into a fighting game, Street Fighter wasn't it. With the modern control scheme on Street Fighter 6, even a newbie or a novice like Jordan was able to jump into Street Fighter and almost clap some cheeks against people who actually play fighter games.
Damn. So,
Yeah,
so that's easy to pick up. So that's good to
it's
hear.
a fun game.
And I was thinking about, I was like, man, with all these fighting games coming out, like I've never really been a big fighting game fan. It's like, but which one do I decide to pick up? Which one am I really going to enjoy playing? And it almost seems like Street Fighter 6 might be the one, just because like it's more than fighting. You got the open world and stuff like that. Like there's more to do than just, all right, going one fight to the next fight to the next fight. Because like
Yeah.
if I'm trying to remember back, like the only really fighting games I used to play was probably Dragon Ball Z Budokai, like 1 and 2 on the PS2. Those were probably the last fighting games that I really remember playing a lot. I mean, I know we used to play Mortal Kombat back in the day, but that was only when we played co-op. Not playing like the solo experience. So I might give Street Fighter 6 a go, but I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up right away. I might wait a little bit.
That's completely fair. The game is honestly really well done. I don't think the story mode is anything to write home about. Like, World Tour is kind of but I really enjoy it. The thing is, like, it graphically isn't the best because, like, dudes are wearing cardboard hats and they're clipping into their shoulders, The
bummer.
gameplay isn't perfect. The story isn't great, but I'm having so much fun just running around. Like, you sitting there and you're Chun-Li spin kicking dudes to start a fight on the street, and then you go right into combat. Everything is smooth. Like, you go straight from combat to real world exploration.
Does the
Day to night.
Pokemon trainer battle song play as soon as you initiate the battle?
Nah, dude. Nah, it just zooms right in, gives you a damage total, and the fight fucking starts.
That's funny. So, Scott, your list is consistently here at 2. So, let's talk about Tears of the Kingdom. Are you still running around doing side shit, or did you complete another temple? Like, what's up?
So I have finished all of the Tears quest line and all of the temples.
Oh shit.
So I've done that. And
that
then I
while
went
camping?
right back in. No, so I played a little bit when I was camping, but like it just wasn't the same, and I refused to like beat that game on anything but a TV.
Okay.
There was a couple times, it's camping, plenty of downtime touching grass, but I was sitting there on the picnic table next to the fire playing. I was doing a few things, but it was just after playing it so much on like even just a 32-inch and going into just the Switch. That's not the game I would play on the go at all. Yeah, I thought there was a little shade when it was like Scott game, and I was like, oh. And then I realized everybody said game, and I was like, good. I thought he was just going to say, how's your one game this week? And
Yeah,
you know
your
what?
one
It
game.
was good. It was good.
It was fantastic.
It's still fantastic. Every time that I play that game, I'm like, this is something new. This is amazing.
He also played that camping simulator.
I did. I played. It was Touchgrass 2023. So I went out and did that.
What about you, Roger? I know you looks like you played some more Tears of the Kingdom. How far are you?
I got the Master Sword sitting there with the Hylian shield, got a bunch of armor, all the fairies are done, so I'm upgrading my gear. Like, every time I turn around, there's a silver tier enemy to fight. It's like the game watches you. If you're not careful, you can scale really too quickly before you're prepared for it. And I'm like, I had one temple done, and like every pack of enemies I look at is just a silver enemy in it, and I'm like,
Yep.
all right,
You're
here we go again.
I haven't done a single fairy. I did the Melania fairy quest line, and then I just haven't done anything
I
since.
I accidentally completed all of the band member quest lines except for the one person that I needed to really start it. So like I finished doing the violinist and I had everyone but the flutist then, and I was like, well, this is awkward. And they were like,
And
oh,
I-
you're supposed to like slowly add musicians so that the song gets better and better every time you play for the different fairies. I'm playing on fairy number 2. I've got the whole band and they're
Just
like, we're back together. And
a
I was
whole
like, we still have
symphony
2 more.
orchestra. Just an absolute, yeah, just an absolute 5-piece rock band just blowing your shit up.
Yeah, you're supposed to have 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and I'm sitting there with all 4 right off the get go, and I'm like,
Yeah. Oops.
oops, I explored a little too much.
That's funny. And then let's talk about some COD here. Looks like we all played a little bit of COD. Obviously, Roger Weirder's talking about it. Caught another dub in Warzone the other night. That was great. I've been playing the past couple of nights with just random people or just whoever wants to play, and it's just been great times. I mean, we're hopping into fucking quads with trio because there isn't a trio playlist to play for some dumbass reason. But that's COD for you. You know.
It's Activision Blizzard, my friend.
Yeah.
They're striking 100 out of 100.
Yeah, but overall it's been fun. I mean, we're dropping like 20, 25 kills a game as a team, and it's just like, yo, we're nice.
And taking seventh.
Seventh, yeah.
Because
Or fourth. Remember
Or
when
fourth, or-
we got fourth like 97 times the one day?
Yeah, when we dropped into Beach Club, we just turned on the meat grinder and everyone came to us.
Yeah, that was definitely great. But yeah, outside of COD, I started Planet of Lana finally. I only played for about an hour or so, and I'm like, yo, this game is fucking dope. Like it has like a very like inside or limbo kind of feel to it, except like it's not like the black and white. It's not like dreary, but it's similar to like Somerville. Like there's these aliens that come over and take the world, and the first thing I thought of, it looked like War of the Worlds. Like these fucking alien robots land, and they have like those long arms, and they're picking up people and putting them in cages and stuff like that. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm just like trying to figure out like how I'm trying to save these people and stuff like that. And I got to a point where I just unlocked this door, and right before went in the door, I was like, and I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna leave it on a cliffhanger. So next time I come back, I'm like, yo, what is in this room? What is about to go down in here? So really looking forward to streaming that this upcoming week. Hopefully beat it because I heard it's a rather quick game. It's like 4 hours I think to get through. So I'll probably end up streaming it and beating it this week. Overall fun game, looks beautiful, and I highly recommend it. It's on Game Pass. But outside of that, Roger, looks like you had some Overwatch 2 and also MTGA. How are both of those going?
I think it's interesting. As I've talked about last week, Magic the Gathering has kind of changed the format here, and now standard play is 3 years long as opposed to 2 years. So with that, they're trying to keep the ban list a little more fresh, I think, is the idea. Because at this point, we're looking at, these decks you've been fighting every single match with the same cards. All those cards are gone. You've got these
Good.
core cards that are in every red deck, every black deck, every red black deck. There's literally the Rakdos color scheme, which is red black, has just been gutted by a ban list. So honestly, the game feels refreshing and new.
That's good.
Yeah, when I heard you mention that on last week's show, I was like, we got a 3-year standard. I was like, okay, like loving that, and then you started going on the ban list. But that's usually any card game.
Yeah.
Like that, like what Duel Links did the same thing. You ran the same 25 card deck every single time. Like, so it's good to see that they actually got it. They're getting ahead of that, and not just hopping in so people can just play only red black and that's it.
And like as soon as they made these changes to standard, I started noticing that like every deck that I was just fighting over and over again that was fun and uninteractive was just gone. Like it's just not a thing anymore. You don't really fight the same black control decks. You don't fight like even white control seemed to have disappeared because black control was gone. So like they didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good to hear that they're making some much needed adjustments to Magic. I mean, I always think about hopping back into it, but it comes down to like having to spend money all the time, like trying to keep up with standard and stuff like that. But keeping it at 3 years, I think that makes that entry a lot easier. You're like, all right, I can buy cards. And I'll be
3 year
fine.
is for paper, and that's the thing. It's mostly for paper, so it helps the players who actually want to play the game, off the computer can still play standard with a little more breath of life, especially with sets like Kamigawa and New Capenna, these sets that people really flocked to the game to play. You had these cyberpunk ninjas, samurais, and then you went into like the Roaring Twenties style artwork. It was really well done. But to think that these cards are going to rotate out in just a month or two for standard is kind of disappointing for a lot of people. So we get to see this new change that helps to keep new players who started the game recently, instead of them just starting to play for this one or two sets and then quitting after they rotate out.
Right.
And it's good. It's good timing too, especially with the Lord of the Rings drop coming up, which is gonna be great. I mean,
In a week or two here?
yeah, it's like a week, I think.
Yep.
And then yeah, so that's gonna be super cool to be able to see that kind of go on and see what people can do with the Lord of the Rings cards that they can put with other decks, things like that. And then once I get my One Ring, I will have it framed behind me so everyone can look at it on
And
Sundays.
talking about the One Ring, for example, the one of one serialized ring, professional football player actually just posted, I think today or yesterday, he's already put $150,000 bounty on the one of one serialized ring.
Damn.
$150,000. It's like winning the fucking lottery.
I already told him I'm not going to sell it. He's got to pump that number up.
Yeah, you got to keep
Yeah,
going.
like,
You gotta
I
pump
need
that
his
number up.
like first year's check at least.
that's
Yeah,
something you're gonna be start auctioning. Like that's an
Oh, yeah.
online auction. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna blow up, and I'm gonna tell him, maybe 300,000, and like depending on how good you are, like get traded to the Steelers, and we'll talk.
All right, guys.
Come over to Pittsburgh.
So enough
see
of what
if
we've
I
been
wanna
playing. Let's move on here to the upcoming game releases because there's so many of them coming out. All right, Roger. So go ahead and dive in here to this long list of upcoming releases.
All right, guys. We might have to extend this section because we've got so many. First, we'll
Yeah.
start off. Amnesia: The Bunker is releasing for the Xbox X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and the PC. This is a game that many streamers have been playing for a while now and showcasing. You're now going to be able to play this. This is not a next-gen game, though, which is interesting for some consoles. It's not actually getting a PS5 release, which is the interesting thing I found. It's going to go to the X and S, but not the PS5.
Definitely curious.
Next up, we've got Diablo 4. This is going to be coming to PS5, XNS, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. This is coming out on the 6th as well. I think this is honestly going to overshadow Amnesia, and really just it's gonna bury this game, I think, honestly.
Well, I mean, Diablo being not that well known, they might have some struggles.
So, yeah, just a few.
But that's why they're putting it out on everything. They
Yeah,
get their,
no,
get their
definitely.
brand out there.
Yeah, like leg up on Amnesia here with the PS5 release, whereas Amnesia is just like, we're not even gonna do that. All right, and then next we've got an indie title here, Harmony: The Fall of Reverie. Harmony of the Fall of Reverie is getting a release for the Switch and PC before it comes to the rest of the consoles later this month. You're going to be seeing the game on June 8th, and then if you have a PS5 and an X and S, you'll see this on the 22nd of June.
I'm actually low-key
game-
curious about this one because this is coming from
It
the studio of
looks
Don't
really
Nod,
good.
and Don't
It does
Nod
look good,
Don't
yeah.
Nod produces a lot of great games. I'm trying to think of the last one that I played. What game? Life is Strange is one of them.
Life is Strange.
Yeah,
Yes, I was waiting for you to. I'm like sitting here, like, is he gonna say Life is Strange, or is he just gonna, sit there silently?
You're gonna
but no,
blow right by the elephant in the room.
It was
Yeah.
the game Tell Me Why when I played it. I think it was last
Remember
year.
Me?
Tell Me Why was a really good one. Twin Mirror I heard was really good too. So like they do a lot of like really story heavy games
And like their original release, also Remember Me is what they're kind of known for. Their good, bad, or otherwise, but that was kind of their opening game there before they went into Life is Strange.
right. It is sad that
And-
this game will probably get really overlooked because of Diablo 4.
Honestly,
Well-
yeah, and like it's got an indie feel to it is the problem. It's not like. It almost feels like a visual novel as well, because the game is about building a web of interconnecting story pieces similar to that of now I've forgotten the game, the Xbox game that you can play with a bunch of friends and stuff. You vote.
As
You're
Dusk
on the
Falls,
yes, thank you. As
or
Dusk
the
Falls.
quarry.
I was trying to say Road 96 and I was like, that's wrong. I played that after As Dusk Falls. So this game kind of reminds me in the sense as Dusk Falls, where you have that interconnecting web of story choices that really map out where you are and what you've done and what you've seen.
Hmm.
This is that same sort of game where it's a narrative adventure game. Your choices will matter and they will put you on different endings and paths towards a wholly different story from other people. As you play through the game, there will be, specific decisions and characters that you will gain sort of uh, affection or points that help you go down their narrative path as you decide how you want the world to turn out.
Right, and as you can see here, I got the gameplay trailer up on screen here, and the art style looks really nice. It kind of reminds me of like an anime, like
Mhm.
art style, but it looks like very magical, majestic, like fantasy. Really curious to see how this one plays out. I hope this game comes to Game Pass because this would be a prime candidate for that.
Definitely,
Yeah,
I agree.
and
Go ahead.
I think it's really going to come down to the Switch players on this first release.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Um, there's definitely a lot of avenues in which this game can do well. It looks awesome. Uh, obviously I'm going to be on Diablo 4, but a lot
Mhm.
of other people won't be. So hopefully they see this and they like this idea of, kind of shaping the world based off your decisions, everything like that. One where you already know right ahead of time that your decisions are going to affect everything. And hopefully this kind of gets a little takeoff because it does look super fun.
Yeah. And what's interesting though is this game doesn't have a release price yet. Like if you go to Steam, it's still only a add to wish list. Even though it's 3 days away, there's not really a way to pre-order it or even get an idea of price. And I think that's gonna be the biggest killer right now because we're spending $70 on Diablo 4, is this going to be able to stand up to that, price point wise? Like if you're looking at a $40 game or a $60 game, hell, hopefully it's not a $60 game, but
Yeah.
right after just spending $70 that a lot of the gaming market and industry is going to do is going to be very difficult. Like I find that this is where they're going to lose a lot of customer base.
Yeah, I don't think they'd have the balls to really charge 60 for this.
Yeah.
I don't think they would. And I think maybe that will be one of their kind of little selling points, no pun intended,
Yeah.
of being the much cheaper than Diablo because we're getting really eerily close to a $70 game standard. Um, and I don't like that, and hopefully these guys don't either.
And I think for this game, if we see a 29.99 price point is where you're gonna find that sweet spot. Like you can't undervalue the game, but at the same time, like to pay 60 or $50, and try to add up next to something like and that's exactly right, Spooky. If
Yeah,
games are worth $70, I wouldn't mind, but most games aren't nowadays.
they're
And
not.
like,
We're paying more for less, or we're paying more for broken shit.
mhm.
We're paying for every game you buy now comes with an included fucking apology letter.
And yeah,
From the
and that's what we
developer.
said
It's
about
it's
last week,
inside the cover.
exactly.
It's inside the case when you open it up. It's already printed
We're
in there.
sorry.
We're
We
sorry.
know you're not going to like this.
Well, and that's what I actually had shared with you, Vic, on Facebook when you said it was a private group that I didn't add you to. It was do you remember South Park when they did the Comcast "We're Sorry"
Hmm.
spiel? It was that, but it was every game developer for like the past year.
That's
So
great.
you got like Blizzard laying there like buck naked on a blanket next to a fire, just going, "We're sorry." Like just it's hilarious. I loved it.
That's funny.
Sorry.
That's great.
Now, finishing out the week here so that we can make sure the segment doesn't go over is MotoGP 23 is getting its release. This is coming out for PS5, XNS, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This is the racing game of bikes, the bike racing game, professional. Not dirt bike racing. We're looking at actual Formula One equivalent bike racing.
Right, and I mean this looks pretty good. Like Spooky Crew saying here. I mean,
Yeah, that looks fucking
it looks pretty
awesome.
dope, and just like F1 in general is becoming much more popularized, especially here in America. Like F1's been really known for obviously over in Europe and Asia and
Mhm.
stuff like that, but now it's getting really big here in the states. Obviously, they got the new track in Las Vegas now, and then obviously they got the one down in Miami, and I think there's one somewhere in Texas if I'm not mistaken. So F1's definitely blown up, and I'm pretty sure MotoGP will get just as big because like it's pretty crazy to think
It looks good.
like we have
God,
we have,
it looks really good.
like we have NASCAR, right? But like this is like FIFA World Cup but for racing. Like it's a world sport. And
Mhm.
that's what makes it really awesome to see here.
It's on a whole different level of gameplay. Like NASCAR is pretty wasteful when it comes to what's going on. Whereas like I find that Formula One takes more skill, it takes more. Well, wait, I gotta read what we got here.
Got my
It's
ass.
like perfect
Yeah.
evolution of beard growth. I feel that. Yeah, no, I honestly, I think Formula One is the racing that we've always been tied to. Like, when's the last time you played a NASCAR racing game?
Probably since the PS2, which is crazy. I was just thinking
Last
about
time we
that shit
put
the
one
other
out.
day. I was like,
Mm.
man, I remember buying like a NASCAR game or renting it from Blockbuster, and like those are like 500 lap races. Like who's
My
sitting
man,
there? Doing
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Like, oh
my
my
man's
god.
over here like, that's exactly like, oh man, I got that from Blockbuster. It's like, dude, that's how
I,
exciting NASCAR is.
I,
Let's talk about a formula or a racing game like that.
Right. I mean,
Well,
look how
first off,
excited we are
first
with
off, NASCAR
Forza.
is amazing. NASCAR is amazing. Maybe not the
Ah,
game, but
I can't
praise Dale,
stand it.
raise hell. Okay, so we're gonna praise Dale. We're gonna raise hell. It's the two things we do in this house. You hear me? But yeah, I think it was like the N64. That is the last
Hmm.
one I played. I sure as hell ain't gonna play it. I also played like Monster Truck Rally right around the same time. I mean, is how long ago?
No, no,
Yeah.
and I understand, but like it's one of those things where I don't like NASCAR is such a American thing, whereas like Formula One is more of a human thing, like it across different races, ethnicities, countries, continents. It's something that ties a lot more people together because a lot more people can get into it.
Right.
Agreed, agreed, and it is much more worldly. But like NASCAR, it doesn't
Yeah.
get more American than that. Fuck Kyle Busch though.
Oh man.
Kyle Busch.
So let's move on here from the game releases into our industry news. So obviously we got to kick it off with the Microsoft Activision Blizzard update because there was a couple of them this week. First off, South Korea has approved a deal, and Roger, I know you comment on it when I dropped the link into the Discord. You're saying this is huge. How huge is
Yeah.
this? Is this like so
So
huge? Like so
like
huge?
think about it this way. So like we
Huge.
were talking
Huge.
about how like we had South Africa or like we had these different places. New Zealand I think was one of them that approved it.
Mhm.
Like we had these countries that when you talk about gaming, they're not a hub of gaming, Japan, the United States, the EU, you know, these are your hubs of gaming, and South Korea is one of those hubs. South Korea is the I would say the birthplace of competitive gaming in like a truly professional manner. When you think about competitive gaming, you think about South Korean teams and players. To have them be the ones to finally say, we approve this deal. That is the esports, the birthplace of esports in my mind saying, we
Yeah,
bless
go
this
for it.
deal.
Yeah, they're like I
Go for
said,
it.
go for it. Yep, like here you go. Like gaming and skincare are the two
Yeah.
things that South Korea do. So if South Korea is saying yeah,
Yeah.
you got it.
And,
Yeah.
and when you talk about like StarCraft, for example, Blizzard's, one of their flagstones, like the flagship of Blizzard, they're like, that's the Koreans. And they approved this deal. So like that's huge to me. This is now finally saying if you're not going along with them, you're starting to become the minority.
Right, and that actually leads into the next point here is that Bloomberg has reported that Microsoft president is meeting with the UK Chancellor and CMA next week because they're considering pulling out of their business completely out of the UK. And we've kind of alluded to this before. We're like that. We've already known that that could be a possibility, but like that could be really detrimental to the economy of the UK because we know how big the gaming industry is for the economy. And if you take out Activision Blizzard, which sells you the biggest game of the year every year, you're going to lose a lot of money.
Now, and not only that, we're talking about, are we talking about just Microsoft Gaming or Microsoft in general?
Right. Or
I don't think they'd pull Microsoft in general.
Yeah, but say, unless it's
I
just
don't
the
think
Activision Blizzard part of it. Like they can probably leave Microsoft stuff there, but not the Activision Blizzard IP stuff. That would be my guess.
I mean, well, they shouldn't have lost the war.
But out of all of this though that's been going on with the deal, like obviously some other information has popped up, and Sony is now facing a Romanian antitrust probe over PlayStation's dominance abuse, due to the findings over all of these reports. They're like, man, we didn't realize how much of the market PlayStation dominates, and they have never been questioned, and they have just as many studios as Xbox. Why is it okay for PlayStation to continue to dominate the way that they are, and the practices they are doing, where they're paying developers and companies to not allow other companies to come in to grow? Like they're literally stunting the growth, where like Xbox and Microsoft is trying to work together and bring people together. I mean, you think about it, a couple years ago, where like crossplay, right? Crossplay was like one of those things, like it kind of was coming in, but Xbox was leading the charge, and PlayStation was like, nah, fuck that. You ain't playing with us, bro. And then Xbox was like, no, motherfucker, you're cross playing, or you're not going to be a part of this.
Look at Rocket League, for example, is one of those big examples of the first, cross play experiences, and it was very much a, you played on PC and you played on PlayStation, and then it kind of, they were like, do we really want to have them play together?
Yeah.
And, it took a while. And just like many other games.
Yeah. So we'll definitely see how that all plays out, because that's going to be something totally different that branches out from this. But in same breath here of the Activision Blizzard deal, Comcast CEO is considering their next move, and one of them is, if this deal somehow falls through with Xbox, that they're going to be like, maybe we can acquire them, because we wouldn't be a monopoly in the market. And I was like, yeah, it makes sense, but it's just not going to happen, bro. Like, Xbox is going to close this deal with or without the CMA, and at this point, with or without the FTC at this point.
All jokes aside, I don't want to have to call Comcast 5 times
No fucking way.
To cancel my World of Warcraft subscription. Cancel! Are you sure you don't want to pay a little less for your World of Warcraft subscription? Cancel! Okay,
all right, we'll put you on hold.
We've renewed you for another month.
We've canceling your subscription. Enjoy. Like, we'll put you on hold. While you're on hold, please go ahead and listen to some of these ads. And it's like,
yeah.
Did you know all new customers?
But some other news from the CEO, there's like, they understand like the cable television is kind of like becoming like not a thing. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like I don't have cable, but we have like YouTube TV, and I'm like this close from like dropping that, because like it's been pissing me off with like how laggy and delayed it is.
Like this.
And it's like I don't really watch it. Like, I watch sports, and that's about it. And if I want to watch movies, I go to Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Vudu, Apple TV. Like, I have all of these other subscriptions that are almost cheaper altogether than having TV.
Honestly, I'll be honest, it's like, why even watch, like, Comedy Central, for example, is what I watched, and it's like, I've seen the Idiocracy movie enough that I should probably own a share in the movie. Like, cable television just isn't there anymore. There's just nothing on it.
Right? Yeah, not at all. Like Spooky Crew saying here, cable is a waste.
Cable's an absolute waste. But what it is, it's also like our hatred for cable has birthed the most excellent pay-as-you-go model that still just wrecks us. Like we were talking, it was a couple episodes back. We were talking about, like, at this point we're paying for all of the streaming services. We're basically paying for another cable bill.
And the thing is, we've seen this coming.
We don't need that shit. We saw that coming
when that bill was passed, where they were like, everything's gonna be broken up. Like, there's more control over the internet. Like, we'll probably see more subscription-based services. Here we are. Everything is a subscription-based services.
You mean when the FCC did the deregulation, and Ajit Pai sat there with like a fucking asshole and said, your internet's gonna be even better.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, and we're seeing the repercussions of that. And like I agree here with Inhuman, that YouTube TV should offer a discount. Like, if you have premium, like, there should be some kind of bundle with their different services. Like, I just don't get it, because like,
they don't do that.
No, And I thought
Yeah,
about it. I looked
that was
into it.
my thought.
I was like, I would love to get YouTube Premium. Like I did the trial. I was like, yeah, this is great. No ads, like on all that other stuff. You can use the YouTube music and all that stuff, or run YouTube in the background on your phone. Like it made sense, but like I'm not paying extra. Like it could just be bundled. It should be all
I
together.
hate. I have YouTube Premium, and I only have it because I had Google Play for the longest time, and
Go-
that's gone.
Right. So that's definitely funny there. But yeah, enough of Comcast, Microsoft, all that jazz. But CD Projekt Red was in the news a lot over the past fucking week.
They have been. I want to sidebar later about what you said about Idiocracy. 'Cause it's got some fun facts with that, some self-fulfilling prophecies, as it were. I mean, other than the rest of the movie.
Other than the
Uh,
fact that Crocs are like
That's
the
what it was.
hugest shoe. Yeah,
That's what it was. So it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when they made the movie, the people that were doing the costume design and everything like that, like they needed a shoe that everyone just wore, that like didn't need tied because people were too stupid. Everyone was wearing the same exact thing. And so what
it
they
had
did
to
is
be
they
the ugliest.
it had
the
to be
easiest
ugly
use
and
shoe.
easiest, yes. And what they did is they reached out to a small little company named Crocs.
Yeah.
And what had happened was because they had reached out to Crocs and gave Crocs all this money, Crocs was able to then take that money, produce more Crocs, and now Crocs are the popular shoe.
Yeah.
Outstanding. I love it when I love it when a plan comes together. Like, man,
Yeah, I always thought that was funny because like growing up, if you had Crocs, like oh you're Section 8 housing, like you're a poor, like if you had Crocs, like that's bad, like you're showing your status, your economic status. Now
Well,
it's like if you
wearing
don't
your
have them,
status.
like why don't you have Crocs?
they took the place of the Chuck Taylor All Star.
Yeah.
Like your canvas like poverty shoe.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is like even newer shoe brands that are being designed by certain people that we're not going to name here
I see where
look
you're
like Crocs.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well,
people are
so-
trying to make imitation Crocs now.
Ugly ass Crocs will never replace my Chucks. Damn straight. But you know what? But
Yeah,
you want to know
dude.
what Crocs?
But you can't put
know
those
what
little
Crocs
thingy
did
things
make?
on your Chucks though.
Fuck them. Don't care.
Fuck those things.
Fuck those things. You want to know what Crocs did make though? The Hey Dudes brand. And man,
Those are good. Yeah.
10 out of 10. Those things are so good. Anyway, sorry. I will get off of that. I just thought that was one of the funniest pieces of information that currently exists. And speaking of other funny information, CD Projekt Red dismissed that rumor that Sony was going to be acquiring them.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yeah, and then some not so funny but still awesome news. So The Witcher 3 has entered the top 10 most sold games of all time, as it has passed 50 million copies sold. And then so we're looking at the Gwent team is actually being disbanded, and the game will still be supported and mostly ran by the community. So little weirdness there, but the community, if they're passionate about the game, the community takes care of itself. They take care of each other in the game.
I mean,
but-
it's like the opposite of Activision Blizzard. The communities try to take care of their own games, and they get cease and desist letters.
They get DMCA'd and they get sued into
Yeah.
oblivion.
Yeah.
Versus Project Red is like, you know what? It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's free labor.
Yeah, it's free
It's
labor.
free
Exactly.
Free labor. Free support.
Dude, it's like Marshmallow posted to me the other day. He's like, "It's free real estate," and I was like, "You're right, sir. It is free real estate."
Real estate. Yes, Disney. Hey Dudes are fantastic.
Now, real quick, sidebar about the top 10 games sold. This now has overtaken Terraria. Terraria being the 10th of the list is now going to be the 11th. Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, and Yellow is the next game that it has to circumvent. Last time they reported it was about 47.5. That may have shifted since then, but Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, and Yellow, I'm not sure if considers also Leaf Green and Fire Red in those totals, but we're looking at Red Dead Redemption 2 being 50 million, Super Mario Brothers at 58 million, Mario Kart 8 at 60 million, and then we kind of leave it in the dust there with PUBG at 75, Wii Sports at 82, Tetris at 100 million, GTA 5 at 175, and Minecraft being the number one sold game of all time at 238 million copies.
That's
Hate that.
incredible.
Yeah.
Hate that so much.
That's like almost like how many people are in the United States? Like 340 million. It might be up from there last time I saw the census. But like that's almost the entire United States plays Minecraft.
And just to give you an idea here, the top 20 best-selling games of all time, 11 of those games have been made by Microsoft. Two of them, the next closest to have multiple winning games, is Rockstar.
Yeah, because they got Red Dead and
Names,
GTA.
right? Yep, Red Dead and GTA for sure.
Yep.
Disney, I love that. She said she made a blue white knight deck in MTGA and she named it Nighty Nights. Perfect. It's perfect.
That's lit.
It's perfect. Never change. But coming out of Project Red, right? So we have a new studio being announced coming out here. It's called Blank. Blank Studios. Love it. Leaves a lot to the
What's
imagination.
that name?
It was
I didn't catch it.
Blank. I think Discord's beeping me out. I was trying to say Blank.
Wait, dude, I think we're gonna get in trouble here, man.
We're gonna get nailed. We're getting nailed to the wall for
We're getting
just shouting-
we're going to get a
shouting
cease and desist
Yeah.
letter from Microsoft. I mean Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, so this is actually a new studio from a lot of the big players from CD Projekt Red. And so they had left. They wanted to form a new studio, create some new experiences. So can't wait to see what comes out of that. Pretty exciting news for those individuals involved with that to come out and make that new studio. They left something that was pretty substantial already. So hopefully they got some good ideas in the works, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Honestly, with how well Witcher is as a single player story game, I hope we can get another
Yeah.
hard hitting series that follows suit and not in another shooter game. That's honestly all I ask.
The mommy milk from the office
God
fridge.
damn it, Spooky.
God damn it.
God damn it.
Fucking
So,
spooky.
but some more good news coming out of the gaming industry. So Koei Tecmo, makers of the legendary Tecmo Bowl, and some other things that have happened.
And some
since
other
then.
things.
So they announced that they will actually be raising the average employee salary by 7.7%. This is following up after a 23% raise from last year. Huge.
So
Huge with a Y.
huge. I mean, it's
It's
not like they
huge.
haven't released a bunch of games recently. Like Wolong, the Monster
Yeah,
Rancher 1 and 2
yeah.
remake, Dynasty
Yeah, whatever those
Warriors,
were.
Ninja Gaiden
those were.
remaster.
Whatever those were, yeah, something like that.
Oh man.
Just a small little company.
Yeah.
But so what they're saying is that new graduate salaries will increase to 305,000 yen as they aim to, quote, improve employee well-being as a basic management policy. Excellent, because that is a basic management policy, is you take care of your employees. Take care of your employees, they take care of you. It is that simple.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
biggest investment you can make.
So is that
That's
like
a-
that salary? Is that like a
2,000.
monthly? Yeah, but see, it's like 2,100.
Well, what I mean there is that I believe is the increase for the entry level job is getting about $2,000 over a $2,000 increase in USD.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say yen to USD, we're looking at 305.0071 US dollar.
It's
man,
it's like
that's-
$2,175. So yeah, that's pretty dope. I mean,
Yep.
Roger. I mean, how many times do we cover this? All of these studios and companies like over in like Japan or over in the Western market.
Japan.
Yeah, they
Japan.
keep raising their
It's
salaries
Japan.
always.
Japan.
And all these other companies are like, sorry, we had to lay off 4,000 employees
Yeah.
We're sorry.
because our CEO couldn't get a $7 billion raise, or
And-
bonus.
And like we talk about how we continue to get rollovers, like Microsoft is firing a huge swath of their staff, but then we look over at Japan and they're like, oh, the Wii U didn't sell well, I'm going to, as the CEO, not take my salary. Okay, that's huge. That's a bunch of people that he can just continue to keep hired to try and make a success happen.
I think I
Like,
know the title of this episode. It's going to be #huge.
Huge. Huge with a Y.
And we're looking at the fact that it's always, Japan kind of has a wage slave mentality where you you belong to
Right.
your company once you start working for somebody, but they seem to want to still take care of their employees. Overworking is a thing in Eastern markets, but at the same time in America, we want you to work these 60, 70, 80-hour weeks at some of these jobs and then only pay you for 40.
It's just one of those things that happens here. Sometimes we gotta work more. Cool. How do I log my hours? What
You
hours?
don't.
Yeah.
That's
The neat thing is
that's the
you
neat
don't.
part. You don't.
Because we were talking about that shit before. It was just like we live in like our country where like if me and Roger work in the same job, right, and Roger completes his tasks his task in 8 hours, but he does it in 3, and I take 8 hours, he's getting rewarded with more work. Where I'm going to complete the same amount of work he did in the first 3 hours, but over the course of 8. How's that
Well,
fair?
and this was a while
But-
back. It was a really good podcast
Yeah.
about the task saturation. Basically, you get promoted and you get more things just until you can't anymore. But what they do is they don't step it back. They just get rid of you. So like good employees become leads. Good leads become supervisors. Supervisors get promoted to other places. It's like you could have spent 10, 15 years doing 8 hours worth of work in 3 hours, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're going to be a supervisor for a section that doesn't do what you do, and now you're just a bad employee and you're a terrible shit supervisor.
Yeah,
Love it.
it's definitely an issue we struggle with in America, but that could be for a whole nother podcast. But we do got some more industry news here, Roger.
Yeah, so let's round it out here with two last things. EA and Nike and League of Legends had big news here. So let's talk about esports. So something I opened up here with is the Korean market and how they are, a lead in esports gaming, is, kind of the birthplace. Well, one of the birthrights to esports is League of Legends. League of Legends decided Riot was going to make a change to the policy for professional play for the esports league, and in doing so, they've removed over 10 professional teams from the Pro Tour. Just cut them. And in solidarity, the entirety of the esports league has signed a petition and is striking. They will not play. The season is done where it stands. It will not be played until the rules are changed. Because what happened is Riot made this sweeping change to the esports rules without talking to anyone. There is no board. There is no way to... There is no body overseeing this other than the company that makes the game. We're getting to the point where esports is kind of... the company owns the league. There is no overarching body where players come together and the game is deliberated upon.
Right,
It is
it-
owned by that.
It sounds like we need like a national basketball league, and then we also need to have like the National Basketball Players Association of the league.
Well, yeah,
to
and
balance.
there's no council for these people. There's no place for them to address these concerns, or for Riot to even sit there and just poke a belly button and say, "What do you think about this?" They just make their changes and go about their day, which is not the way to run business.
And these are people's livelihoods. We're talking about teams of hundreds of people across multiple different teams, support staff, coaches, managers, the players, the people who own these teams
Yeah.
are just
Look
they've been cut out of the league.
Let's say, look what happened to FaZe over the past couple of months. Like they're crumbling right now, which is crazy. But yeah, I mean that's also that's awful to see. I mean, like, especially coming from Riot. I feel like Riot's been like doing a lot of good lately, and then to
They
see
are
this,
the-
you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like
they
League
are
League of
esports
Legends
leaders.
is the biggest esports game.
Like
Like
you would think that that would drive them to have more consideration for these teams. Like that is their bread and butter, and they just shit on it. They shit right in the loaf.
well, they're gonna
Yeah, they
find.
were like,
Well, they're
"Oh,
gonna
you
fuck
know,
around and find out. That's basically what's going to happen.
Yep. And so now that they've kind of, shuttered instead of just shrinking the league, they've shuttered it. So now there is no LOL esports until there are further changes, because every team has decided in solidarity they will not be playing. Moving on, though, to the world of EA, Nike and EA have a cross deal going on here where EA has signed a deal to use Nike's .swoosh website. It's a platform for NFTs. They're looking to push their NFTs now through the Nike system.
I'm curious to see how that plays out because obviously EA has the connection to the sports world already with FIFA, well, upcoming FC Sports, whatever, and then obviously
Are we
Madden and NHL, and like
are we going to be getting digital trading cards, NFT,
Well, they're
sports cards
they're
for
already
these
in them
players?
because you think about
I know.
FIFA
Yeah.
and Madden. They all have those
Yeah.
the ultimate teams where you buy the packs in the games. But
Yeah.
what if this allows you to remember that one company that just signed a thing where they're gonna like if you own the NFT in the game, you're gonna get a physical version
Ubisoft.
of it as well. Yeah, Ubisoft. What if Ubisoft like EA takes a page out of that and creates something like that where if I open this pack and I get this football player, whether it's American football or soccer, I get that card in real life as well. Like
Mhm.
that'd be dope. I honestly, I would play that
Well,
shit way more.
you know,
I would
it,
play
it,
way
it
more.
almost feels like Pokemon back in the day where you'd pull cards that had digital effects. You would swipe them through your
Yo,
what was it, your Game Boy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
dude,
Pokemon
I still
one.
have those
Yes.
fucking colors, their cards with barcodes on
Yep.
them. Like, are we
Absolutely.
looking at the point where we
No, nobody
finally have
cares.
a physical asset tied to it?
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares about the NFT part, but the fact that you can turn NFTs to physical would draw it more attention because like people struggle with the concept of like how is this mine? It's just digital. Like there's nothing physical to this. But now if you're going to provide a physical aspect of my digital NFT, it makes sense because then I can
Or is
I can
the
resell it.
Yeah,
Easy.
or is the NFT gonna give me something more? Like, is this a, 1 of 100 NFT that I can use in a game that isn't just a game about NFTs? That game
Right.
looks garbage, so let's not play it.
Right, and you're talking about cards that you scanned. I even remember the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like they would have like the numbers on them. That on like the PlayStation One game, the Yu-Gi-Oh game that you could play. You can go into like the marketplace or
Forbidden
whatever.
Memories?
Yes, Forbidden Memories, and you would type in that code and like it would pop up, and then you have to buy with the in-game currency if you had enough. I feel like I never had enough for it for any card I wanted, but that was pretty dope back then.
Oh, it wasn't. No, it wasn't Forbidden Memories. Forbidden Memories was that busted ass one where you had to like fuse cards out of your hand.
PS1.
Shit was yeah. What was the?
I don't even. I just remember I still have the Wing God of Raw card that came with.
Yeah, it
one
was
of the
Forbidden
games.
Memories.
Was
Yeah.
it Forbidden Memories that you could? Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah, as you can see here up on screen, guys, this is the cover. I remember playing this game
Dude,
like it was yesterday.
That game
Yeah,
was
dude.
fucking hard.
It was hard
it
as shit.
was.
That game was fucking hard. Like your only hope was to get like a twin-headed dragon and like a thunder monster, and then like fuse it into like the twin-headed thunder dragon and shit, and try and beg, like pray that you were getting the cards you needed. Man, that fucking game hurt.
Yeah.
That game fucking hurt. God.
So we'll definitely continue to monitor and see how EA translates the that NFT thing deal with Nike. But let's move on here to our gaming news of the week. So, going to kick it off here with Xbox. We're going to come in hot here with Xbox because we know how bad Redfall launched. And Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg did like a deep dive and kind of figured out like what the fuck happened. And basically, this game was in like a really bad turmoil before Microsoft bought out Bethesda, and all of the employees were like, "We're hoping Microsoft cancels this project or reboots it altogether." And that's not what happened because Microsoft was like, "We're going to do a hands-off approach. We're going to let you guys be independent like you have been." Like how they announced it, like they were straightforward. Like that was already transparent, but it's like now we see like if they don't intervene, you can get bad product potentially. So now hopefully Microsoft takes a step back and realizes sometimes we might have to intervene when a game is in really bad
Or
turmoil.
it may not only be that. It may also be the fact that these developers were just had poor lead from Bethesda, and then after they got bought out and there was a restructuring that most likely happened, they were like, "This game is still going," and they're like, "Bad management led us to square one. We're already starting off at we're already starting off at such a poor spot that if we try to finish from here, we're probably not going to make it."
Yeah. So it almost sounds like this game should have been delayed even more, like we've been saying, or altogether just canceled and
Or, yeah.
repurposed or something like.
Or just scrapped and started again
Yeah, I mean obviously
when
we see it.
Microsoft bought them.
I mean we see
Yeah.
it from time to time. Like the Witcher game the new one is supposed to be coming out got rebooted altogether and like restarted and restructured. Like hey, we got to start from scratch because whatever we had going on is not going to work out. And that's what should have happened here. But that was pretty cool to see Jason Schreier do some deep dive into what happened with Redfall to see what happened and is this something that we have to expect to look forward. And I don't think so. But moving on to some potential excitement, which we're going to dive into a little bit later when we give our predictions for the upcoming show. But Xbox put like a cryptid tweet basically, and I think they're teasing Psychonauts 3. I'm gonna let you guys make the decision here as I get it pulled up here. I don't know about you, but I see the word Psycho and then like three X's. I don't know about you. Is this Psychonauts 3?
That's 100% Psychonauts.
Like, there's no way it's
That is
not.
like that is 1,000 like unless they have something that is in the works, which is an acronym of all six of these letters. I don't.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah,
Like, this has to be, but it's crazy because like Psychonauts 2 just came out like what two like a year like 2 years ago maybe, and we're already
oh,
potentially
I
going to see
mean
Psychonauts 3.
that kind of tracks. I mean, a year or so later, you get your third game. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, it's kind of how you want it to work. You know,
Yeah. So I
you
mean,
want to keep riding that train.
so hopefully it comes to like that's the truth because I heard it was really good and I know the first one was considered like a cult classic from back in the day. I never played
Mhm.
any of them,
Well,
but
the second one got rebooted because of a Kickstarter.
Mm.
oh, okay, yeah. And then they brought in like one of the original developers to finish the game, which was awesome to see there because like that game was so beloved from back in the
Oh
day.
yeah.
But moving on to Xbox services, Game Pass editions were announced. So we got Chicory: A Colorful Tale, cloud, console, and PC already available. Far World Pioneers, console and PC already available. Car Mechanic Simulator 2021, cloud, console, and PC already available. Slayer's X Terminal Aftermath Vengeance of the Slayer, cloud, console, and PC already available. The Big Con, cloud, console, and PC already available. But coming out here on the 6th, you got Amnesia the Bunker, which is a game that we just talked about in our upcoming game releases, coming to Game Pass day one. So I think that's going to be a big hit with the Game Pass subscription there.
And this goes along with the other Amnesia titles as well that are already
Already
on
there,
Game
yeah.
Pass.
Yeah.
The classic cult classic games from the 2010s.
Yeah, so that's awesome to see there, and that's coming to cloud, console, and PC. Then we got Hypno Space Outlaw, cloud, console, and PC, and then on the 8th we're getting Rune Factory 4 Special. I know this is like a pretty popular game if I'm not mistaken. I know a lot of people in the gaming community that I see on Twitter all the time talk about how excited they are to see Rune Factory 4 coming to the Xbox Game Pass. And then you also got Stacking coming to cloud and console. And then Dog, I don't know if I'm probably butchering that one all the way, coming to cloud, console, and PC on the 13th. But then on the 15th, we are losing a few games. Bridge Constructor Portal, Chorus, Maneater, Mortal Shell, Serious Sam 4, and Total War 3 Kingdoms, all leaving on the 15th. So go check those out before they head out. If not, do get a 20% off discount if you do want to buy them as well. Are you guys
They
set?
don't want to get rid of. They don't want to get rid of Redfall. Just make room for something else.
That's not going to happen, man. And then
Just don't make room.
the other service that usually does poorly is Games of Gold. June announcements. You got Adios is going to be available June 1st through the 30th, and then The Veil: Shadow of the Crown will be available June 16th through July 15th. These are both indie games that I heard are really good. I think they're like 9 out of 10s on like most platforms. So I think what Games of Gold is becoming is like a highlight for indie games, and they're just giving them a second chance or a second like a breath of fresh air or however you want to look at it. So that's awesome.
Well,
There, I
it's
can't
giving them the
declare.
audience that they probably wouldn't have gotten elsewhere. I mean, we've spoken about it before, but it's like it's 100%. I mean, the audience that they need, and it's always good for indie games to come out here for the Game Pass. I mean, shit, we
Yeah.
wouldn't have known about at least half to three quarters of these. We wouldn't. Nobody would have realized what great games they really are.
Yeah, Game Pass has done such a fantastic thing for smaller games. I think like it's put a lot of games on the map, gave them like a chance to really succeed.
It's done what Steam Greenlight was unable to do because with Steam Greenlight you had to pay for the games and it was really hit or miss because if you pay, yeah, it's $15, but it's still $15. 2 hours in, you're like, this isn't worth the money I spent on it.
Like
You know,
you imagine if I spent money on like The Last Case of Benedict Fox, I would have been pissed.
Yeah,
But because it was on
exactly.
Game Pass, I was able
And
to
that's
download
it.
it, check it out, and then drop it.
Spooky just came out and said, yeah, like Steam Greenlight approved actual scams, like 100%. Like Greenlight was terrible.
There were,
Not only did you
good
waste
games
2
on
hours,
Greenlight,
you waste
but
20 bucks.
90% of them were horrible.
Yeah.
90, yeah,
Mhm.
like it was bad.
Yeah, it was
It
definitely
was,
rough.
it was not
Still
awesome.
bad.
Not awesome. Yeah.
And then last up here in regards to Xbox, the PC app, Xbox PC app, is getting its update for May, and it looks really good. What I've seen, you get improved discovery with updated game cards, filtering in new collections, new accessibility options and menus, and then like even their social menus have been updated for like an added glance look, which makes it easier to like to navigate and just see what your friends are doing and playing, or if you need to interact with them as well. So I know both you guys are on PC a lot, and we know the Xbox apps on PC are pretty clunky for some reason, including the Game Pass one. So hopefully we see a Game Pass app update in the coming, hopefully in a month or
I
two.
mean, I have an update right now. I'll wait until after the show, but
So enough of Xbox here, Roger. Let's move on to PlayStation because I'm really curious to talk about this first topic here.
Yeah, so we talked about PlayStation's Spotlight last week, and what a doozy it was. Right after they finished the Spotlight and we finished the podcast, they decide we're going to announce one of our biggest titles, the flagship of the PS5, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, is coming to PC July 26th, and we just neglected to tell you during our showcase.
yeah, that was dumb.
How do you
That was
how
just
do you how do you whiff this hard? Like it your showcase was utter garbage and you started to just mimic your competition and do it poorly only to just give us, well, yeah, exactly. Snake Eater is the only thing that truly came out of that showcase, and
which
it's
is pretty
on more
fantastic.
than one console.
Right, it wasn't like a first party. It
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
exclusive. Like none of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as that,
So-
I'll take shit that doesn't make sense for 1,000, Alex.
Right,
Yeah,
and it
so-
was sad to see because like they ended the showcase with a trailer for their Gran Turismo movie, which has already been released. Like it was already out in the wild. So like they didn't need to showcase that at their showcase, where they could have been like, here's a trailer for the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart PC port, guys, coming out next month. Like, you
Yeah.
imagine if they would have ended their show like that? That would have been lit. That would have made the
Yeah,
show a little bit better.
The internet would have been on fire as opposed to them just tweeting out, "Oh yeah, we got Ratchet and Clank coming, boys," and everyone's like, let's rip this apart." So the community tore into them. So one of the things the community is talking about is like, there's no SSD required for Ratchet and Clank, but you told us it will only play on the PS5 because it needs an SSD, the special proprietary one at that. And yes, well, most times you have to put other notes into a game for Steam to show you what the specs of a game are. But the thing is, like Ratchet and Clank, I don't think has any specs right now. So like the internet is kind of a buzz with haters and fanboys alike trying to tear this and build this game up on PC, but we don't know what the specs are going to be other than you need a 64-bit processor and operating system, but like the OS, the graphics, the processor, the hardware requirements that they're asking for this game are still unreleased on Steam as of right now. But people are worried that like, is this going to just show Sony lying to us again about why you need the PS5 to play their games?
Right,
Dickhead.
because like when I dropped this in the Discord, because like I know it was like a just a random person talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, because like I would say a lot of people aren't going to have an SSD in their PC. Like that's not something that most people have now. Like as
If
of
you're
right
gonna
now,
be no, if you're gonna be gaming, you have an SSD at this point.
You would hope.
No, like anyone with a gaming PC who buys a game, like you're not gonna be able to buy Ratchet and Clank, let alone any other of the modern games right
Right.
now, and play them on a hard drive. You're going to be playing on an SSD, or you're not going to be playing the game. Like the game is going to be so play so poorly that it's just not going to be playable.
or the game is playable, and then PlayStation lied to us. Like I'm wondering if that's the
Yeah.
thing. But like it alludes to this other comment thing that I saw, and they were like, Sony says Spider-Man 2 is going to allow you to switch between two characters thanks to the SSD. And then someone was like, GTA 5 was like, hold my beer, because you can like switch two characters. I want a fucking pin drop instantly.
Yeah,
And I'm just
exactly.
like, and it doesn't require an SSD, so it's like, does it really need the SSD to be able to switch between two different Spider-Man?
Yeah,
Like,
it was like, oh, thanks to solid state drive technology. I'm like, you fucking what? When?
yeah.
Like,
So it has me like really curious about the whole
Thanks to the SSD.
Ratchet and Clank thing, because Roger, we were talking about the game The Medium, right? And because The Medium was like an Xbox timed exclusive, and it needed like an SSD to run because it was running two game worlds at one time. And then like it came to PC, and I was like, does it require an SSD? and I don't know if we came to an idea if that was thing. And I was like,
It-
it's like both consoles were like lying to us about the SSD. It did not require an
Yeah.
SSD to play.
And so is it really a Sony issue we're looking at this point, or is it just an industry issue where people are saying you need the SSD? Do we need it, or is it just you want us to have it?
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd rather have an SSD over any other type of hard drive.
Well, I mean, I'd rather have an M.2, like an M.2 or like.
But
PC.
don't lie to me. Like, don't tell me
PCIe.
the SSD is going to make a game run in general because of the SSD when it's not true.
Yeah, it's only gonna run because it's an SSD. Like, okay, because that changes everything.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely
it changes your speed, it changes your read-write speed, everything like that. You're not. It's still an NTFS system. Like, it's still like.
It's
Read
definitely
for the
like,
files.
Yeah.
The other thing people are talking about is if it's on PC, the thing is like how much memory is in a PS2 or in a PS5? How much actual RAM is in a PS5? How much RAM is in a gaming PC?
there's 16
So you're-
gigabytes of GDDR6 RAM on a PS5.
Okay, so I have more than that in a PC, and so the idea is that complements your hard drive. The memory allows for your hard drive to load things into RAM, so that you don't have to pull it off the hard drive. It's already there in temporary memory. And so that's why games can play so much better on a PC, because you have a graphics card with memory and you have memory on your motherboard. So you have two sections of memory that you have things loaded into, whereas a game console only has that one set of memory. It's going to have its gaming memory.
Yeah, the way I always like explain it to people that ever ask that I know like aren't very computer literate, like your hard drive is your kitchen, and you have all of your stuff there, but your RAM, it's the buffet. Like, so everything's made in the kitchen, all that good stuff, but it gets brought out to the buffet, and that's where you eat it. That's where you get it from.
You can still send somebody back to the kitchen to get something, but it'll take them longer to get back there and come back out and put it out on the buffet.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's great. But PlayStation had an update to their PlayStation Month games for June, which is much better than Xbox's, I would think.
Honestly, PlayStation just doesn't stop hitting with their PS Plus games. These are free games you get to keep forever, and we're looking at NBA 2K23. You are literally getting this year's NBA 2K
Last
for
year's,
free.
but yeah.
Last year, sorry. I apologize.
2024 comes out in August. You got 2 months until the new one comes out.
Yeah, so you're getting the current
Yeah, the
NBA
current one,
2K.
yes.
There you go. So Jurassic World Evolution 2 is also being added in there, and you'll also finish out with Trek to Yomi, which was a Game Pass game we're looking at here.
Well,
like
all three of these games are on Game Pass.
they
Al-
are
already.
on Game Pass. They are on Game Pass.
So that's
right
why
now.
they didn't come to Games of Gold, because they're already on Game
Yeah.
Pass.
The games
but-
of yesterday is at PlayStation tomorrow.
and like, be honest, when are you gonna play NBA 2K23 after 2K24 comes out?
Yeah, never.
Like, do you really ever go back to a sports game?
No. No,
Nobody's
never.
like, man, nobody's
All
like,
these-
man, the classic 20, 2K21, man, you can't beat it. So good.
I mean, I have 2K14 up till 22 back there.
The one game that could become a live service
It is never a live service.
Yeah.
Yes, we talk about that shit all the fucking time, and it
It's-
makes no
it's-
sense.
It's the most moronic thing that you can do.
But
I mean, I
but
guess
but it's like the smartest
people are
thing.
gonna buy it,
It's a business move
but-
because they know people are going to
Yeah.
buy it every year regardless.
So that's what you get if you're on the PlayStation market. But Scott, what's happening in Nintendo?
So Nintendo decided that they just want to shut down the eShop in Russia. Good.
Good for them.
People are still gonna have access to the things they've played if they have like their physical copies. But yeah, no eShop in Russia. Good.
Which
What you get-
we already been talking about since the war broke out.
Yeah, it's kind of what you get, and on top of that, I really hope they also don't get to enjoy the new pastel colored Joy Cons, which do look really really good.
They do.
Yeah, they if you have that
Yeah.
image to pull up, they look fun. I was a big fan of Slava Ukraini. Spooky says, "Hey," but yeah. So they got the new pastel colored Joy Cons. Those look really cool. I was always a big fan of just like the straight black going on. So when I got my Switch, I was
That's
all in
what I
black.
have.
But But the pastels do look really, really good, especially if you're into pastel colors.
It's like me with my
Um,
Xbox controllers. Like I'm literally looking at 6 of them on my
Well, there
wall
was
right now.
also another Xbox controller that came out that also has kind of like
The
the
pastel
pastel
colors.
colors.
Yeah.
So like the pastel craze is, I
Well,
guess,
because it was last
alive
year
and
that
well.
Xbox did that deal with the OPI like nail polish ones, and then like this year they struck another deal with them again, and they're always
Yeah.
like these pastel colors for the spring and
Mhm.
the summertime, which it's great.
Yeah. So the Nintendo also announced Everybody 1-2 Switch, and
That
this
came
is
out
the
of
end of.
nowhere.
It did. It's like I think this is the end of like being warned about anything. It's just gonna people are just gonna drop things. People are just they're gonna push things that come out of nowhere, which I think is really cool as well because it also gives you that like element of surprise, like gotcha.
Yeah, and the fact that it
But
comes out later this month too, like on June 30th is when it drops.
yeah, it was a super short from announce to release.
I
I
think those
mean,
are always the best. Like when you have those games that like get announced and then like they're coming out like soon. Like there was a podcast I was listening to and they were like it doesn't happen that often, but like one of the most iconic ones was Fallout 4. Fallout 4 was announced and then released within 4 months. And you're like, "Holy fuck, like we need more
yeah,
of that."
it was a super quick turnaround, and it did so well because people still had they just had that hype. It's like when Taco Bell brings back the nacho fries. They don't like, hey, starting in November, nacho fries might be here. It's like,
We
hey,
just bought them today.
by the way, nacho fries are back at Taco Bell.
It's
Go get
dangerous
'em.
when they have the nacho
And
fries and the grilled cheese burrito. It's
You mean right
GG's. Yes, it's GG's in the
Man.
chat.
love me the nacho fries and the grilled cheese burrito. I always get the box, the one that comes with the sodium warning now.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. But that ends really any happy news for right now because I do have to throw some sad news out here. Is that Asper Media announced that it is canceling the restored content DLC for the Switch version of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2: The Sith Lords.
Yeah, sad. I mean, obviously, we've seen this was in turmoil for a while now.
Yeah.
We were actually wondering if this game was even still happening, but they were like, "We're just going to scrap the DLC." But the game's still coming.
But just seeing it there in writing, it just hurts.
It does.
It hurts. I mean, that
Gotta
is
pull the band-aid off someday.
Yeah.
yeah.
But good thing I
you
wasn't going
gotta-
to
you
play
gotta
this on
pull it, but-
Switch.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I would have. I played that. I played on everything else it came out on.
He would have been
I
at his next
absolutely would have,
camping
yeah.
trip playing it.
See, I would have played that next to the fire, 100% for sure.
Oh,
Yeah, but
shit.
that wraps up really any of the Nintendo news from this week. Check out those pastel Joy Cons if you're into that sort of thing, and then we can all sit here and pour one out for KOTOR 2.
So, moving on here to a random ass surprise announcement from Meta. The Meta Quest 3 was announced, and I got the trailer here up on screen for everybody to check out. And it may seem random to most people, but obviously because like everyone knows how huge of an Apple fanboy I am, not as of lately, but I think that it was in response because they know what Apple's about to drop or announce on June 5th at their WWDC conference, that their VR AR headset is coming out. And the stats that have been coming out in regards to the Apple headset are blowing like the PSVR 2 headset out of the water. It's blowing out like the older MetaQuest, like even the Pro model out
Well,
of the
what's
water.
price tag, Alex?
Yes, it's $3,000. Like, but that's not the official price tag. That is the unofficial price tag of the Apple One. Yes, 3,000.
So
It's
what
not
you're
going to be
telling
meant
me-
for everybody. So Meta Quest 3 looks really nice. Like I really love how slim this goddamn headset looks, and I'm like, yo, that shit looks dope. But the fact that it's $500, I'm like, why do we keep going up? And Roger, what are we talking about with the Meta Quest 2? Right, it went from $300, it went up to $400, and then now it's going back down to $300, and I'm like, but it's not really going down in price. Like you just put it back at its original price. Like that's weird.
Yeah. The idea is to kind of sell it at that sweet spot price tag that's going to be that exclusivity price tag, that Apple style price tag where you paid extra to get something before somebody else. And then we can lower the price. But then they also do lower the price before they release the new one. And we're kind of in the infantile stages of the VR revolution.
Yeah.
You know, VR revolution is right around the corner. It could really stick or it could fail, and we know right now developers are struggling to really make new and and really add ingenuity to the field. Like we've seen some really good games, like for example, The Forest, and the fact that that is a VR game that you can play with people who don't have VR, or like we've seen things like Beat Saber, those truly VR only games. And the problem is though, we're still struggling to find the pinnacle of it, you know, those real titles that draw everyone in. But at the price tag $500, that doesn't seem bad. Like this is playable on its own as a console with your smartphone. You can load up any game and push it to your headset from your smartphone
Right.
and play. Or
Which is
if
a
you
huge
have a
competitive
gaming
advantage over the PlayStation VR 2.
exactly.
Same price tag, but you can play it anywhere.
And it's a better price, and it's a better headset too.
Yeah, and it's
a
much
better
smaller.
product for the same price. That's kind of what I was gonna aim at here and agree with Roger. Is like you're getting a better product for the same price, and with this VR revolution coming around, things are gonna end up being a little pricier. It's a newer, more expensive technology, and still seeing this come out with the $500 price tag,
And
not
and
a terrible deal, especially for the things that you can do with it.
And the thing is, they can't sell these at a loss like they can with consoles because you're not developing games for the headset to be played.
Right.
The thing is, when you sell these headsets, they are open source for the most part. People have jailbroken them and gotten them out there so that you can play with your own OS. So what are you going to do? Okay, we lock it down, we sell it at a loss, and then you have to use our market. Okay, well, you're selling this for people who are PC geniuses. They're gonna crack this, then they're just gonna distribute freeware. You can DMC them till the cows come home. That's why there's the dark web and things like that. People
Catch this shit
people
on Discord.
always get exactly. You know, yeah, Discord.
Man,
That,
catch
the
this shit
dark
on
web, yeah.
Discord, man.
so these are going to be expensive for what they are, but they're there. They're
Yeah.
there because they are the forefront of what the industry is going to be. And as we move in that direction, we'll find that the price is only going to go up as inflation rises as well, because it's an excuse. It's an easy excuse to help prices go up and make more money.
Right, and
That damn Suez,
and how
man.
how I was alluding to like the Apple's VR AR headset being $3,000. Like this is their like professional headset. Apparently, like they have like cheaper, more like consumer friendly priced headset coming out later. But
At
this,
$999.
yeah, I mean, but even then, like eight or $900 like headset that could be like prestige, like that next level, like that actually legitimate luxury headset could be worth it. But the fact
it's
that
gonna
the-
be
but we're-
it's gonna be made by Apple, so it's going to be locked down so that it's
Maybe.
not going to work with PC or
Maybe.
things like that. Most likely,
we don't know because
know.
Apple's been
History has shown.
right. I mean, Apple.
History has shown
Actually-
100% of Apple products.
What did Apple just do with PCs? They allowed you to be able to connect your phone to the PC, and now you can answer text messages and phone calls from your phone onto the PC now, which is what was on the Mac this entire time via continuity.
Yeah.
But they're bringing it now to PC. Like Apple's being more open to
'Cause
Microsoft.
We're doing that with Android for years now.
I don't
like,
I don't think they're gonna do that with something this important to them though.
yeah,
they're
so
going to try to get you to.
we'll
get
definitely see,
their
but-
Apple doesn't give a shit about how you read your text messages as long as you have the iPhone to receive them.
right. So what I want to get at though is the fact that like Apple's getting in the game, and Google's probably right around the corner announcing their headset, and Microsoft probably has a headset on the way. Like we just don't like they had their headset that was fucking super expensive that the army was using, but like maybe they have like a gamer consumer friendly centric one on the way, and like the more competitors that you get into the market is only going to drive competition in that industry forward. Like that's what we really need in VR. We need more people on board for the VR gaming, for it to become an actual market as opposed to a niche market that no one plays.
Well, you also have people that physically can't play it, which is upsetting. But like I think it's gonna be niche for a bit. It's gonna until they can get things that like don't feel weird.
Yeah.
That's
And
what a lot
so-
of the games do. They feel weird as shit when you're in the
Yeah,
VR.
because it's a whole new experience. But
Yeah.
talking about new experiences, Scott, can you take us to the next VR topic?
The next VR topic for new experiences is
Yeah.
going to be Assassin's Creed Nexus for the VR. So this is coming out of Ubisoft. So this is coming in. It just says 2023. Could be tomorrow. Could be December 31st.
TM.
Could be at the Summer Games
Soon,
Fest.
yeah, soon asterisk.
Well,
but Assassin's
one
Creed
of-
Nexus.
one thing we haven't announced that also I don't think was on our itinerary is they will actually be doing the Ubisoft Forward next week.
Hmm.
And in that forward, next Monday, you will see the full reveal of this game.
Right,
So
and
next
they
week,
could
not
shadow
this,
drop it,
next
especially with the MetaVest or
hmm
MetaQuest 3 being announced and released, and then with Apple's device coming out too.
Yep.
Like it might be a perfect time to say, "Hey, Assassin's Creed game, guys, go
Yeah,
check it out."
here it is.
And
Go
this
spend
is
your
for
$500. Go
it's
spend
for
your
the
extra.
Pro, the 3, and the 2. So if you have any of those headsets, you can play this game.
Yeah, and the fact that it could come to the PSVR 2, can't forget, and the one, even if they really want to still make it for that. But I
But
mean,
it's only coming to the Meta right now. So this is a Meta only game
for now.
for now.
Yeah, but moving on here though, Roger, we were just talking about Dragon Quest not that long ago, and they
Yeah,
kind of had like
I
a
was
new
talking
announcement
about
in a way.
yeah, like we've been waiting for the new Dragon Quest game. Like they announced it a while back. I'm gonna talk about it when we talk about Summer Games Fest coming up. But like we still haven't seen the new Dragon Quest game. But instead they decided to give us a hack and slash game called Infinity Strash. Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. So Dai is one of not the original characters in Dragon Quest. Dai is actually from the manga and anime series that followed along with Dragon Quest over the years. This character is a he's getting his first game debut here where you're now going on a hack and slash adventure where you'll go fight large bosses and swaths and waves of enemies over time, and it feels kind of oddly reminiscent of a Dynasty Warriors style game. It looks
Hmm.
pretty awesome to me. It's kind of game I would play, but I'm hoping the gameplay isn't going to really ruin the Dragon Quest series after we just had so many good Dragon Quest games. Like Game Pass last year dropped the Dragon Quest remastered full edition of one of their best games in the series.
Hmm.
And then we had the announcement of 10, or I think Dragon Quest 10, and
Hmm.
we still have yet to see it. So this is what we get instead. I hope we hear more at Summer Games Fest about the next Dragon Quest because this isn't it.
Is it me or does it look very Dragon Ball, or is it from the same universe? Or I don't really follow Dragon Quest that much.
It's not the same universe, but it is that JRPG style thing.
Like that fight right
Like
there
this
looked
is
like it was like Gohan versus like Piccolo or
Yeah,
something.
their art style, since they both were their inception dates to the same time period, they both kind of followed along with each other. And yes, Dragon Quest is very Dragon Ball Z esque, so you're gonna get a lot of that same art style.
Okay.
Yeah, not dummy thick Frieza over there. I just saw.
Yeah. Now, let's finish out the gaming news though with Disney Dreamlight Valley. So this is a game we've been following for a while, and many of you are very well aware of what this game is. They released their 2023 roadmap, and it looks exciting.
Hmm.
The 2023 roadmap, early June. So this year, we're going to be unveiling the secrets of the forgotten. You'll be decorating dreams come true with a touch of magic furniture, mannequins, and much more. So it's a new sort of art theme that you can use to decorate your Disney Dreamlight Valley. And then, as summer progresses, we're going to see a new villager, Vanellope. This is from Wreck-It Ralph. You'll be able to flex your creativity with new features and win in-game prizes. And then, as fall starts to take us, September will bring a new realm with friends that you'll be able to visit, as well as new places to go to. And then, lastly, as the year rounds out, we're going to finally, hopefully, see our multiplayer features, new frontiers, new characters, and a whole new chapter to the game, as well as a new royal tool. So, something new to allow you to craft and remake the world, as well as many other magical surprises along the way. You also see that we're going to have events for the different seasons throughout the year, including Halloween and things like that.
Yeah, this has me low key excited. I haven't touched Dreamlight in a little while, but I always think about hopping on it again, like from time to time, because it was like a really enjoyable, like chill, relaxed kind of game. And with all these new updates, so like I'm really looking forward to that multiplayer function that's coming in late 2023. Because if it's kind of like whatchamacallit on the Switch, her drawing a blank here, guys. The game was huge during the pandemic.
Oh, you mean Animal Crossing?
Animal Crossing, yes. So if
what
it
it-
has like
yeah.
that function where you can go visit
Yeah.
each other's like islands and see how you
Mhm.
decorate it and stuff like that, I think that would be really awesome to go and check out your
Yeah,
areas.
well, spoiler alert here. The game is about you're asleep in your backyard dreaming of your youth and your fun you had with Disney, and so maybe you'll be able to dream
Oh
jump
wow!
into
So
other people.
they also
Yeah.
got us being old and caught that.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll be able to visit other people's dreams.
That'd be pretty dope. It sounds creepy, but it sounds dope.
Didn't Scarlet Witch do that, and didn't turn out
Mhm.
very awesome?
Yeah, I know.
Talking about the other Disney property.
Right. So enough of the gaming news, though. Let's move on here to our leaks and rumors before we get to our predictions for the upcoming showcases. So, got one leak here in regards to Xbox. Wolfenstein 3 is potentially in the works due to a hint. It's like hinted by a new job listing. So that'd be pretty dope because I think Wolfenstein is a franchise that has been doing really well, and it'd be nice to see a third entry that I would definitely play. And in fact, it would come Game Pass day one. Has me pumped. But Elden Ring, Scott, has a lot of people pumped.
Oh yeah. So, in the world of things that you do want when you are starting talking about DLC, size does matter in some places.
As well as the
And,
motion of the ocean.
As well, hey, you know what? The motion of the ocean, but sometimes you ain't gonna get to England in a rowboat, you know.
Size
And when it
matters
comes
not.
down to- when it comes down to that, DLC, that's where you want to see some size. It looks like the Shadow of the Erd Tree might have a girth certificate though, because this is gonna be they're rumored to be the size of two equivalent DLCs. So it's a lot of subjective term here when it's you're looking
Well,
at the size of two DLCs, but what
they're-
DLCs
they're
like
talking
what are we
about,
looking at here? But
potentially previous versions of From Software DLC. So when we're
Yeah.
looking at From Software DLC, one of the most iconic is the arena from Dark Souls, where you went to a whole arena and you fought a bunch of bosses back to back to back. You know, that's one DLC. Now we're looking at two DLCs full of content. You know, one of them for Bloodborne is you go to an ice world and you have this whole huge quest line where you're going around trying to deal with this whole iced over Bloodborne realm. That's a whole DLC. Now you've
So
got DLC the size of two of those in one.
yeah, and that's what that's what I'm trying to think. Like, hell, what are we talking? Are we talking, 120 gigs? Are we talking
We're
like
talking like
I'm gonna
3
need a
minutes for a
second
speedrunner.
SSD then.
3 minutes for a speedrunner?
Yeah, about
Damn.
3 minutes for a speedrunner.
That sounds
I
about
didn't
right.
realize it was gonna be that. I didn't realize it was gonna be that big. Shit. 3 minutes is a lot of time for a speedrunner. So that's what they're rumored out here for Shadow of the Erd Tree. Super excited for it. I know a lot of other players are. And if it's as big as they say, I mean, it's gonna keep people coming back. And then, the sky's the limit really for From Software as far as Elden Ring is concerned.
Right. I mean, the fact that they also have Armored Core 6 right around the corner too. Like,
Yeah, it's gonna be a big
Printing
difference.
money,
yes.
printing it.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely see how that DLC plays out. Obviously, and it was one of the biggest games like ever. So we'll definitely see. But let's move on here too. We wanted to do some predictions on two of the upcoming showcases because there's a bunch of showcases going on. But the two big ones that we're really worried about here: Summer Games Fest 2023 and the Xbox Showcase. We just want to make some predictions, whether they're outlandish, what we want, or what we kind of already know is going to be there. So we're going to start off here, Scott. What do you expect or would like to see at Summer Games Fest?
Ooh. Mass Effect.
Okay, the new one.
New Mass Effect. Fable, the new Fable. I think that's if it doesn't drop here, it'll drop when Microsoft does their shindig.
Okay.
Probably same with Mass Effect.
So save the rest of your list here. Let's go back and forth here. What about you, Roger? What are you hoping or expecting from the Summer Games Fest?
Honestly, it feels like every time I turn around, Bungie's releasing a new Destiny expansion. So like,
Well,
we're
they
gonna
just-
see the next one.
Well, they just
They
announced it.
released one.
Well, they just announced it at the PlayStation Showcase. The new, because Cade
Yep.
6 has returned somehow from the grave.
Yeah. So like, what I'm getting at is
Are we gonna see gameplay?
the trailer for Destiny. You know, every Games Fest we always get what's the next Destiny expansion.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. I'm actually excited for Bungie's new announcement, Marathon, because like that's a reboot of like their first IP
But
ever.
it's going to be a non-story
Yeah.
shooter
Yes.
game.
PvP, live service
Why?
extraction game. I
Was Marathon not the original working title for Halo?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
It was what they had before they changed it
Yeah.
and then made Halo.
So
Like their
It was a
Project
whole other
Marathon or whatever.
idea. You
Yeah.
know, it was completely different though too. So I
so
won't sell it as like Halo nondescript.
So
Halo
I
action.
made a list here for both shows, but I'll just do two right now. I think we see Wolverine, the PlayStation exclusive here. I think that
Mhm.
PlayStation was holding on to that, and they wanted to really showcase their Spider-Man game there. But I think we might see like a legitimate trailer now, some maybe a gameplay trailer for Wolverine, which is coming from Insomniac, and they
Yeah.
have a lot on the plate. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they outsourced the Ratchet and Clank PC port, but if they're working on
Mhm.
Spider-Man 2, they got to have a second team working on Wolverine, which would make sense because they were working on Rift Apart and Spider-Man 2 at the same time.
Or at this point, the team that was working on Spider-Man 2 has started to transition. They had that sort of groundbreaking, exploratory developer crew. And now as Spider-Man 2 winds down, we're gonna, whatever's left over is your DLC crew, and the next are gonna move to Wolverine. So that crew that jumped there first is gonna be your sort of artists, your writers, and the people
Mhm.
trying to build the story for us to play. They're going to hopefully have an inception, like a conception of what it's going to be, and be able to present that to us other than just Wolverine style things.
Right. I mean, because we seen the teaser, the announcement teaser,
Yeah.
and it was really just like a guy in a bar, and the next like you see his hand hit the table and his claws come out, and you're like, oh fuck, like it's Wolverine. Like when that trailer came on,
Yeah.
we were like, what is this? Like what the fuck is
Yeah.
this? And they were like, oh shit, they were getting a
It's
Wolverine
Wolverine.
from Insomniac. Like that's gonna be such a
Hmm.
badass game, I think. But yeah, that's my first one. The second one here is Elden Ring DLC. I think we do see like an in-depth trailer for the Shadow of Erdtree that's going to like kind of showcase what to expect from the DLC. I feel like that's a no-brainer, like to me. But outside of that, do you guys have any other predictions for Summer Games Fest? Because I have a couple more.
Honestly, we're going to
I have
see
one
more of
that
Armored Core.
Okay.
I
Armored
think
Core for
that's
sure. Yeah.
like we
I
had a small trailer about 3 minutes in length with the gameplay, and it looked cool, but it left a lot to be desired. It didn't look as crisp as we may have wanted it. Like it still didn't look finished. And I'm thinking we're gonna finally see the full gameplay trailer of what Armored Core is gonna look like, and be ready for, which is releasing soon.
Yeah, in August. August
Yeah.
25th is the release date for Armored Core, so yeah, I think that definitely makes sense. You imagine them dropping like a trailer for back to back Elden Ring and then hey, Armored Core.
Right
And then
after
Also,
right
Armored
after
Core is
that,
done. Yep.
yeah.
and then right after they do Elden Ring, and right after they do Armored Core, they're gonna hit us with that Witcher remake for sure.
I mean, it's already been announced. It's been announced,
Yeah,
so yeah.
and they're gonna hit it.
Mhm.
They're gonna hit us with it. And then that's my think. I think Witcher remake. We're gonna see something come out of that, and then
I think it'd be nice to see
I stay awake.
something along the lines of The Witcher there because like they have a bunch of
Yeah.
games in development from the Witcher universe. One
Mhm.
of them have to be there. I feel like it has
It's
to be.
it's definitely gonna be there. I think the remake's gonna be the comeback for The Witcher in this one. So that's my think is gonna happen, and then my hope is gonna happen is the one that you already know that I stay awake for every night.
Yeah.
I refound Jesus waiting for this game. It's gonna be Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, they're gonna come out. Actually, you know what? They're gonna announce 7. They're just gonna drop it and then
They're going to
walk
announce
away,
7 after they
and then
announce
just
6.
never do anything. They're just gonna announce it and then not do anything with it. I'm really, really, really hoping that we
Yeah.
see something come out of Test 6 for here, or just something that just a wag, just one crumb, please.
I honestly
Like,
think we're looking at a big reveal for Square Enix this year.
hey,
Um,
Glitch, welcome.
I think for Square Enix, we're gonna probably see more for Final Fantasy right before it drops, and then we're gonna see maybe some content for the next iteration of Final Fantasy VII, because we've had a bunch of different stuff coming out right around now for Final Fantasy VII, but it isn't the direct sequel to the Final Fantasy VII remake, which was only a portion of the
was like the
original
first
Final
half.
Fantasy.
Yeah,
It
the
was
first
like a
half of it.
third. It was
Yeah,
Was it?
because
Or-
it'll
or-
because
or-
it's a 3-part remake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not even, we're looking at a huge amount of game, and also we've been getting like smaller games that we don't really cover as very much, but around that Final Fantasy VII, like the prequel for Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VII, where you find out about, the guy who looks like the main character, and then you've got other stuff around all of that going on, but we haven't seen Final Fantasy VII 2.
Right.
And I think that's what we're gonna see.
That'd be
Also,
lit.
Kingdom Hearts is
Ooh.
not confirmed, but there's all but confirmed when Tetsuya Nomura said that we'd have to wait till 2023 to see what's next for Kingdom Hearts. Maybe we see a trailer or a teaser like we did for Wolverine for Kingdom Hearts 4. What's
That'd be
next
dope.
in the series? Because Kingdom Hearts truly didn't leave itself finished. It kind of left it open to now, instead of being Disney, it kind of bridges into that world of Final Fantasy where the humans are now like, we look at the Keyblade Warriors and what's left over.
And the fact
Yeah,
that
it
they
definitely
could
did leave that
still
open.
tie into the other Disney IPs. Like we forget that
Oh yeah,
Star Wars
all
and
the new
Marvel,
stuff.
like all of the new
Mhm.
stuff too that's been coming out. Like there's so like that series could go forever and ever and never have a lack of content. So
Mhm.
that I definitely agree. That'd be
Definitely.
dope to see there. So
And then our last wild card, KOTOR 3.
that'd be crazy. That might break the
That'd
internet.
be that would break the entire internet.
Yeah, Ralph breaks the internet, but I think KOTOR 3 breaks the internet. So, but I got three of them here. Three of them here on my list before we move on to the Xbox showcase. Speaking of Xbox, I have two here that from the Xbox might hold off from their showcase just to premiere here at the Summer Games Fest is Gears of War 6. I think we get our first teaser trailer for Gears 6. I think it's time. Gears 5 has been out for a long while. Hivebusters did phenomenal time. It's time for the Coalition to reveal Gears 6. But I was listening to a podcast because I haven't played Gears 5, and there's a part in the story where like you choose which character dies. Like I don't know which characters we're choosing from, but you get to choose from two characters. But like how do they move the story forward based off of like that kind of decision? Like does one decision become canon, or like does it carry over your save file like Mass Effect does? Like how where do they go from there? And I'd be
We
really
killed
curious.
them both.
Yeah, we killed them both, so you guys are.
Choices don't matter. There's the illusion of choice.
So that'd be interesting. The other one is I think we may see the Xbox streaming device or box officially announced and revealed here. Obviously, they delayed the announcement and the reveal of the official thing, like because we know it's on the way, but they're trying to figure out how they want to execute this properly. And Xbox has been known to reveal, like the Xbox Series X was at the Game Awards. Jeff Keighley show. Jeff Keighley might have signed Xbox on to reveal their next device into that market. So that's my other one. But last up here for the Summer Games Fest is Cyberpunk 2077 DLC, The Phantom Liberty. I think we finally see the final trailer for it because it's coming out this year, guys, and we haven't really seen that much from it. And I think it's time to see that last gameplay trailer. Hey guys, it's coming out in a couple of months. Hope you guys are excited. I think that
Hopefully
makes
it's
sense.
good.
Yeah, hopefully it's good. I mean, Cyberpunk's been doing great. I mean, they're come on, man, they're bringing on Idris Elba, and then you got Keanu Reeves already. They're still there. Like, that's going to be a
Yeah.
crazy duo. However that plays out.
I mean, look at how hyped we got for Cyberpunk 2077 the first time.
Yes, I know. My
Yeah.
expectations got to be maintained a little bit.
Wake the fuck up, Samurai.
All right, so I think the last thing I want to touch on is we finally see a release date for one of the biggest survival games we've been talking about for a while now, Nightingale. Are we going to finally see when it's coming out? Because it has been teased now. It before last year's Summer Games Fest, we got this teaser, and
Right.
we still don't have a release date, and they're like 2023.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not 2023. We don't know, and it's like.
When is
You
it coming
want
out?
the game,
And that shit
first
looks
time?
dope. That shit looks really dope. Like those gates that
Yeah.
you go through, and like it changes the entire world. Like, I don't know. It's like Minecraft on steroids. It's like
Each
going through the Nether realm.
Well, each person gets their own high fantasy realm, so you kind of get to pick where you want to live. Do you want to live in a desert, a forest, a jungle, somewhere on the ocean? There's so much endless things, like endless possibilities they claim that you can explore, discover, and then go into other people's worlds or build whole cities with your friends. Like
That'd be
it
dope.
looks really interesting, but the problem is we haven't seen when. Are they over?
Over
Are
promising.
they overpromising for us, or are we just, or is it taking this long to get it done, or are they just like, know if it's going to succeed.
Maybe they announce like an early access time frame,
Mhm.
like Steam early access. I think that would make the most sense, for
Mhm.
sure. But
And the last thing,
yeah, go ahead.
what does Disney have in store for us right now? You know,
Do we get the
what is
official
Disney
announcement
gonna
of Disney domination?
when are we getting a Disney game? Like Disney is sitting on all they have is Dreamlight right now that's really being released. Are we going to hear more about maybe the next Star Wars MMO?
I mean, we know a lot of Star Wars games are in the works, but
Oh yeah,
you remember
sure.
the Smash Killer is in the works
Yeah.
that was leaked.
Mhm.
Domination.
Yeah, Disney domination. Like I think that officially gets revealed. That'd be dope.
I could see that. I'd see the for the Game Fest. Yeah, I could see domination.
And they'd be like, "It's releasing this fall," and then
What if they
just
go
"Oh,
like
fuck."
they show you the Kingdom Hearts trailer and then they go, well, we have one more thing from them, and it's the Disney domination and like they brought over like the Final Fantasy characters into
And they
Disney
just
domination
absolutely
too.
smashing ass in
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah, that would be fucking dope. But moving on to our Xbox predictions, I'll kick it off here. I got a decent list here, but kick it off with the first two that are have to be here at this show because the like this it's now or never for these games is Fable and Avowed. These two have to be there, like with prominent showcases, and I think they kind of teased Fable with their recent like trailer, like with the glitter and the music they were playing, because people were like, "Hey, that song kind of is similar to from the first Fable game," and I was like, "Yeah, it is." So like Fable has to be there, and it only makes sense. Forza Horizon 5's been out for how long? That team got to be getting close to releasing Fable, whether it's this year or the first half of 2024. That got to be on the way. But Avowed could wait a little bit just because Obsidian is busy. What are they not? What are they not busy with? You got Outer Worlds 2, Grounded, Pentiment. Like I understand, maybe Fallout New Vegas 2 is on the way from them, unannounced. That's way out there. Like I don't think it's happening, but I think it could be.
Mhm.
But what about you guys? What about you, Scott? What do you think Halo got? Or not Halo,
First off,
Xbox.
if,
Sorry.
if it's 100% Fable, Fable A has to happen. Like you had said, like it's gotta. It's if we're not seeing anything for sure for Summer Games Fest, we have to see that on the Xbox side of the house. 100%. And I'm just looking over here. Disney loves Fable. I 100%. That's one of the games that has never been uninstalled from my computer.
Damn.
Because I literally go back and I like every couple months to a year, stuff like that. I go back and I play through Fable 1 through 3.
Damn. And I've never played any of them.
They were, dude. Oh my god, they were so good. And that was, and that
Fable 2
was
is fire, dude.
Fable 2. Loved it. Man, but
So many STDs. So many
Oh,
STDs.
every single one
all
of
of
them.
them. All of them. It was like Pokemon. You gotta collect them all.
You get your first gen 151 STDs and you're good, golden. It's gotta be Fable. Another one I was thinking about because after we had started talking about this, well, what's going on with Summer Games Fest, what's going on with Xbox. I'm thinking Arc 2. Arc 2 has been pushed out for a while. It's been in talks. It's been in works. I think we're gonna see that at least coming out here for the Xbox showcase, and then of course, Halo 7 or whatever the fuck.
That's actually on my list here is Halo DLC. Like some kind of story DLC. I know that they were like they kind of like, oh, that's not a thing, but like they've done that before. We're like, that's not a thing, and then they announce it. Like, so like I think Halo DLC is there. But what about you, Roger? What's on your list here?
Honestly, my just like shot in the dark is we get the Halo Infinite story continuation. That's what I want to see from Xbox. I also want to see all of their big studios start to give us, concrete dates for release of their good games because look, Xbox is on a losing streak and you cannot deny they are only losing with their first party games right now. Redfall is the biggest game we were hoping for the first half of 2023. What happened? It shit the bed. It shit the bed hard. Like that thing was horrible.
Yeah.
It shit the bed so hard it was in the box spring.
And I'm just saying,
It's
Scobie,
that-
did you beat it? Did you
Nope,
beat it?
I stopped.
And you know what? You said you weren't gonna stop, and it
I said
wasn't
I
on your
wasn't,
list.
and then you know what I did? I was like,
Stop.
I can't. I was like, I can't
hit-
force myself through this. It's like a kid who doesn't like fucking broccoli, man.
And,
Like just make it eat it. Like, or when I was a kid, like when I was full, like the whole thing, like, oh, finish your plate. Like, you know what I used to do? Like, I used to like if my dad made spaghetti or something like that, I didn't want to eat anymore. I like pushed it off to the side and like got it so it would look smaller. And like I did the same thing to Redfall. I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore. I was like, I gotta, and then I was just like, I really don't gotta, because like I have limited time to play my games anyway, and I don't want to waste it playing a game that I don't want to play anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's key.
Yeah. But yeah, that was Xbox's supposed to be their biggest first game of the year, and it just shitted.
The biggest first game of the year from Xbox was Hi-Fi Rush, which, don't get me wrong, was fucking phenomenal.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But like Redfall was supposed to be that new one.
Yeah.
Like still never played with anybody.
Yeah. I
Like,
downloaded it. I just haven't checked it out yet. I want to wait to play with you guys, but that's
It's
whenever
not
we
shit
decide
on
to
it.
make that
It's not-
decision.
and it's not the shit on the game. It was fun, but it's like, dude, it's not it anymore.
It had a chance to capture, as I was saying in chat with Spooky here, is like, yeah, he's saying the game, even at its best, probably wouldn't have been good. And I was like, well, if it was actually a good game, it could have captured the Back for Blood hype and the player base that was ready, salivating for this game, that got fucked by how bad Back for Blood was. This could have been that game, and it wasn't.
Having played it though, Spooky, I mean, it could have been up there. It could have been. It's like they had it and they just.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know what happened with the report that we talked about earlier.
Mhm.
But moving on here to some of my other predictions is I think we finally get like the official announcement of like release date for Forza Motorsport, like because we know it's coming out this year, but like when? Like I think it's an October or November release date, and I think it's ready. It's definitely ready, and with all the hype with the F1 and all that stuff, perfect time to drop this game because we know how great Forza is in general. But then you release Forza Motorsport.
Not only that, we have the movie coming from Sony.
Yeah, Gran
Now you
Turismo.
you take the hype and you say you don't go play Gran Turismo, you go play our game because it's better.
It's way better. And my other
They
one
have to
here
get it.
was Psychonauts 3, and I threw that on the list once I saw the teaser. I was like, this has to be there. Like you're not teasing this to not be there. Like that just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's mine. I got two more here. If you guys don't have anything else that you have any expectations from,
I was gonna make the
Xbox.
comment about Forza.
You did.
But did I?
No, he did.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna
I
make a
did.
comment about Forza, but I didn't really have too much. But like looking at other games, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna pray for that Elder Scrolls 6. But instead, I think we're gonna see more Starfield.
Well, the Starfield Direct is right after the Xbox showcase,
Yeah.
so it's got its own 1 hour or whatever showcase.
And never mind.
Yeah, so that's going to be there. It has its own dedicated showcase.
Then yeah,
Yeah, because that's right around the corner too. September release
we're
date.
gonna see an ad for.
Yeah, it's going to be
that
for the showcase at the showcase. Yeah, that makes sense. What about you, Roger? You got any more predictions or no?
Hopes and dreams, all I'm saying, man.
Yeah,
Hopes and
well-
dreams that always get shattered.
Yeah, well, I got two that are not like hopes and dreams that are almost kind of confirmed. Is like Hideo Kojima's game that he like announced that he has the partnership with. I think we finally see some kind of bullshit trailer there to showcase it because like this game is supposed to be built on the cloud of some sort.
Dude carrying another baby.
Yeah,
or
another
something
yeah.
through
Who
the
knows what
flood,
the fuck
whatever,
we're gonna
yeah.
get? Yeah, so that I think it's gonna be there in Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2, the official announcement like release date. It's coming out this year. I think it comes out in like December. This game was announced and showcased when the Series X was announced. Like this game, we have to know when this game comes out at this time. This was the first next gen game showed by Xbox. Why is it not out yet? What the fuck is going on?
I completely forgot about that.
And I'm
You're so hype on
so
that. You
excited.
are so hype on that. I know you are. And when I was looking through like possible lists, I did see the Hellblade 2, and I was like, yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah. So
if we see it.
yeah. So that's all my list there. Do you guys got any other predictions or expectations from the shows?
No, but when I was like I said, when I was looking through, and it's like, oh, here's ones we might see. Here's ones this or that, and the other thing. I actually found like a 14 game list. You already talked about Avowed. So we're looking at other people are talking about Replaced.
Yeah, Replace could be there in Stalker 2 because
Band.
those are the two games that are like
Stalker
in limbo
2, yep.
because of the Ukraine war.
Yep. Yeah, Heart of Chernobyl. Avowed. We touched base on the Perfect Dark remake. People are
Perfect Dark.
thinking.
But I think that might not be there because it's going through like a restructuring of like development and stuff. I don't think we see it.
And we did forget about the Indiana Jones game.
Yeah. I think that
I
could
would
get
like to
shadow
see it.
dropped, low key.
I would like to see. I would like to see something like that. We're also. I mean, other people are talking about State of Decay 3.
That might be there.
Everwild.
Indiana
Yeah.
Jones makes sense though because the movie is coming out or about to come out or already did come out,
Yeah.
and it would make sense to like, hey guys, it's available now, go play it.
hmm Yeah.
It would just build off the hype from the movie.
Yeah, and we got your Hellblade 2. We've got the Fable. We've talked about Forza, Elder Scrolls 6, and then Starfield. I mean, really, I think that's kind of what we're going to be looking at here.
And whatever
when it comes
third
down
parties
to
that
it.
they decide to team up with,
Yeah,
that's all
I mean,
first
we
party
saw-
what we've been
there's
talking about.
so much stuff that's just out in the open that I mean, we're just gonna have to wait and see here in what 4 days. So
For Summer Games Fest, and then a week
Summer
from today
Games
for the Xbox Showcase.
okay, all right.
But
yeah,
yeah,
we
man.
said that. We said what? That's the 8th. Are we doing a live stream on that Thursday for it or?
I will be. Yeah, I'll be doing
You will
that.
be?
Yeah, I'll be doing it for the 8th and the 11th. The showcase on the 8th is at 3 o'clock, and then the 11th is at I forget what time it is on the Xbox one, but we'll be live. Whether
Hell
you
yeah.
guys join me or not, I'll be there. But yeah, man, that's our predictions, man. So it's time to close out this week's episode because we made it a little bit longer than anticipated here. So we want to start off by thanking everyone who check us out live today here on Twitch, and anyone who does check us out later on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. But Roger, where can the community find you at?
Same place as always, guys. It's twitch.tv/lunatic_oblivion.
And what about you, Scott?
Same bat time, same bat channel. Twitch TVs/Scubby1. I got my new Streamlabs subscription here, so I'm gonna be starting to push some things out there. If you want to get a hold of me on Discord, you can get me up at Scobie1. Numbers are 9369. If you want to get together in BattleNet, my name is Scobie1 there, and my numbers are 11780. And if you just want to get in my DMs, talk, chat a little bit, kind of see what I'm up to. If you want to see what happens when I go camping, you can find me on Instagram at Scobie1.
And of course, everyone, you can check me out at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin _, Xbox is X Never Space Chillin, Facebook Vic Brubacher, and I stream over on my Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin as I play through Planet of Lana and gotta figure out what I'm going to be streaming after that. But we want to thank everyone again. But until next time, peace.
Press start podcast.